it'll be a mixture. It'll be who takes their moments next week. There was a lot of moments out there today, and it's probably going to be the same next week. So us being at home with the crowd behind us at the Allianz Arena, we hope that can push us over the line.
Thank you, Harry. Good to talk.
I am a defender, and we looked at some of my stuff earlier on. Those games were 0-0 and 1-0. But and normally when I see a game like that, I'll be a bit like, the defending's not good enough, or it's not up to the standard of this level of football. But what I would say is, every attacking player on the pitch there was an 8 or 9 out of a 10. And I think every attacking player got the better of his counterpart. And when I think of the goals, now, because there was so many, I might forget 1 or 2, but it wasn't like there was howlers by the keeper or like someone doing a stupid mistake defensively. It felt like a lot of the goals were like just great goals where you go, oh my God, amazing. Now, every goal you can always look at a little bit and say, oh, he could have been there, he could have done that. But it wasn't like the defenders made a fool of themselves on have I missed a goal or something. It just felt like every goal for me was like pure quality. It felt like the attacking play was that high that it was almost impossible to stop the goals going in. I don't think there was many howlers.
The 4-2 goal, it's not a howler, but if you don't move, you save it.
Which
the
one?
Where
When
Lema goes with...
Yeah.
You stay in your position, you see the run of Hakimi and you don't let him run. But having said that, I'm with you, Jamie. We've been complaining about boring football. We saw 2 teams that wanted to play each other eye to eye. And it was enjoyable, as much as we can go into details after, and we will, but it was enjoyable at the end of the day.
Let's not forget, last season we looked at PSG and we loved them, and we still love them. And we couldn't stop talking about the 2 full-backs. No one was close to them last season or at times this season, and they're still brilliant. But the 2 players up against them, as I said, tore them apart. And sometimes you've just got to say the attacking play was just out of this world tonight.
Nuno Mendes didn't train for a very long time or whatever it is, but they both finished with cramps. This is why I wanted to see at the beginning of the game Olise versus Nuno Mendes on and off the ball. Because people always talk about wingers and great players. You need to go up and down.
I mean, they will create a lot of chances. And if the goalkeepers today are not up to it, we could have something like a scoreline of 7-7 or 8-8.
Pizza!
Your pronunciations have been spot on, and now you predict.
In the history books in the Champions League, in terms of the numbers, the highest scoring leg of a Champions League semi-final, first leg, the first European semi-final to see both teams score 4 goals, and so it goes on. How do you sum it up, Wayne?
Crazy, chaotic, entertaining. No, listen, it was a game which Clarence actually said before the game, didn't you, that he felt it was going to be 6-5, and we were half laughing thinking it can't be 6-5, but
he was so close.
He went far off it, but no, I think both teams have got so much quality in the top end of the pitch, and that they probably forget to defend a little bit, and that means we get to enjoy some great goals.
Clarence, I know you were half joking when we were watching it, asking where the defenders were, but a lot of people, especially the neutrals, don't care because they've been thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, I mean, you're entertained until you get kicked out, there has to be a balance. Of course, this is what we see in football today. A lot of focus on attacking, a lot of focus on scoring goals, great goals, nothing to take away from those amazing moments that we've seen today, but so many huge mistakes, miscommunications, mispositioning by the defenders, and also just in the defensive mentality of the teams. I think at this level in the semi-final you cannot expect certain things I've seen today.
But at 5-4, and with the 2 halves that we've seen, and continuing to the very end, Bayern Munich chasing that equaliser, where does it rank for you in terms of a Champions League match that you've watched and enjoyed?
I mean, for me, it's the best one I've ever watched as a semi-final. The goals, the entertainment, back and forth. It felt more like a basketball match. It was end-to-end. You play, we play. You play, we play. Attacking, all action. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Of course, you can look at it 2 ways. A tactical affair and a low-scoring game is also good for the purists. But I think for the neutrals, for the fans, the young fans at home, to be able to see these great players deliver on the biggest stage, it's a joy to see.
I'm sorry, the youngsters should not look at these things as defending.
They got it. No.
You have to know how to defend. There is no way you're going to win the Champions League if you don't know how to defend. This was magnificent in all ways, and I understand what you're saying. I'm joking, but you would expect the minimum of defending. Otherwise, the game is just completely changed.
But throwing it forwards, and we're going to go back in a moment's time, we're going to look back at all the goals, but throwing it forwards, do you see anything different to this next week? Do they know how to play?
Oh, listen, I think Luis Enrique is a top coach. So when they get the advantage of 5-2, I think then he should have said, right, let's shut up shop, let's get behind the ball, make it hard, see the tie out, and then potentially that's got to get us through to the final. But he didn't, he went for more goals. And Vincent Kompany, obviously, he's got a very attack-minded team. And I think you can clearly see they haven't worked that much on defending, because some of the goals we've seen, as Clarence said, the schoolboy goals, and at this level, we've seen some brilliance, but we've seen some, immature defending, which is crazy.
If you came out of it on the right side of the scoreline, how much would you have enjoyed playing in a game like that?
I'd love to play in a game like that, but I used to pride myself on defending as well, so I think I would have been upset that we conceded that many goals. But I think overall, going into the game next week, I'd be much happier being Bayern Munich. I think to leave here with only a goal, knowing that you can score goals against PSG, you can tighten it up a little bit. I think for me the advantage is with them.
Clarence, you haven't chuckle, I was going to say. I need to hear, because you're chuckling to yourself now. I'm like,
I would just say, ask the goalkeepers if they're happy. Ask the goalkeepers if they're happy. they are not happy. The clean sheet was always sacred for goalkeepers. And we've seen a team like Arsenal making that difference this year, having so many clean sheets and coming all the way. So if I have to point out one team now that would be capable actually to bring it home because of that capacity, it is actually Arsenal.
Well, definitely, go on.
Sorry, just on that, I just don't see how, if you're a player, if you're a coach, no matter if you've won the game, if you can go into that dressing room after a game, concede 4 or 5 goals and be happy. I just don't see. I think there's got to be questions asked. The defenders are asking questions of the forwards, why they're not helping them.
Well, you're right, because, or your instinct is right, because Gabriel Clark has just relayed that neither team looked that happy going down the tunnel. But I tell you what, there'll be a lot of people at home who sat there as neutrals, who were very happy indeed, who are throwing their cushions and their empty beer cans at the TV, listening to you two tell us all they should have defended better, because as a spectacle, it was a joy to behold, wasn't it? And to come to this stadium that we've all looked on, haven't we, over the season, thinking we want to get there at some point, because that atmosphere is so incredible.
It's so true what you say, Gabby, and from a spectacular point of view, yes, it's great. But once upon a time, also defending, was an art and was appreciated, and it has to be part of the game. Actually, tell me one sport that you can win without proper defense. I don't think it's exists.
I mean, well, if we're being real, right, we're looking at 2 amazing attacking teams putting on a fantastic display for us, but they obviously got here by being able to defend. The key is they've come up against someone as good as them at attacking, which has, of course, enabled us to see such a joyful game.
By the way, basketball, NBA on Prime tomorrow, so you'll see a game without much defence.
In for that, for sure.
Welcome, everybody. Wowee.
Wowzer.
You are welcome. Welcome to the Halftime Report presented by Heineken. Kate, Thierry, Jamie and Mike are here. Goodness me, 5 goals in the first half. First time ever that we've seen 5 goals in the first half of a Champions League semi-final. Let's run you through them because there's plenty to go through. We're going to start with Bayern being given that penalty. Micah?
It was just, the game was absolute madness. I mean, there was so much quality, but then this happened. I mean, some would say it is, some would say it was. He's not going to overturn it. So then Kane, the pain, steps up and tucks it away coolly, I would say. TT?
And then Varashkele, I love the fact that he didn't wait the ball for the ball to go in his feet. He made a run in behind. Desiree gave him the ball. Little shimmy, go inside, curve it straight away here. Oops, boom, back in.
And then before you know it,
well curved, 1-1.
It's 2-1. Neves from a corner, very Roy Keane-like against Juventus all those years ago. Brilliant header, 2-1, but there is still more to come.
Yes, and then the big man, Michael Olise, being inside, as you're going to see here, receiving the ball, and you could see that he was upset. He wanted to go to goal. Goalkeeper Safonov trying to anticipate something. He shouldn't anticipate that. Ball is almost in the middle, curved it. You can celebrate. 2-2.
Len, the decision that spoiled it. I don't think it's a penalty. Dembele there on Davies' arm.
It's a disgraceful decision. It's absolutely shocking. One of the worst decisions you'll see, and we've watched one of the best 45 minutes we've probably ever seen.
But
he scores a penalty.
3-2, half-time. What a game. Can't wait for the second half.
So let's go back to the first. All that way back when Luis Diaz won the penalty for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, no, Diaz does really well actually to start with, and he wins the ball deep in his own half, and he goes on a good run, and then it's a great touch by Elise. If you watch here, Diaz, it's a magnificent run. He carries the ball really well, commits the PSG defenders, and then it's a really good piece of play from Bayern Munich. It slows down a little bit, but Diaz doesn't stop. He puts himself in a really good position, and then this touch from Elise is brilliant. Good first touch, and then it's a clear penalty. So I think there's no debate in that penalty for sure.
I agree fully.
That one you're happy with, and of course this was the master himself, putting Bayern Munich in front, Daniel. 37 out of 39 penalties he scored now for Bayern Munich.
Clinical, you know, these are the moments you live for as an attacker, you know, to be able to be given an opportunity to score, and he did not make any mistakes with that one.
Such an open game, so of course PSG were going to get right back into it, and Dembele had a really good chance, Clarence, didn't he, which he squandered, but it didn't take long for Kvaratskhelia to get into the game.
No, absolutely. I mean, he seems to be always tuned in, and I think he has too much of flexibility in that ankle. Went a bit too wide. but Kvaratskhelia, I mean, we said it before the match, he's always ready. A lot of mistakes from Bayern here, from the right back, and also centre back not covering him at all. Even still, he's in the box, nobody covering him, but what a finish, what a quality. Every time he has the opportunity to go and create something, he does.
His balance, his clinical ability to finish is...
Yeah, it was, but I think more importantly to that is the detail of his run. I said to Clarence when watching it, it reminds me a bit of Mark Overmars. You know, he comes short, getting the ball and then runs in behind. Yeah, the defending weren't great, but his decisions running behind, then the pass, and then his ability to come inside, and it's a really good finish.
And then it was João Neves' turn, but not after Doué, of course, had had a chance himself that earned them the corner.
Yeah, and his ability, you know, we see this guy being able to dribble and manipulate the ball in small spaces, committing defenders time and time again, and we see it here right now. Cutting inside, you're thinking, can you reverse it? He's complaining to the referee right after this, like, ref, it's a deflection, it's a deflection. And there's a slight one off the knee. And you're thinking, okay, corner comes in, and of course, one of the smallest players on the pitch times his run to perfection and gets a nick on it and guides it to the far corner.
The timing and the power there, Wayne, and you know, as you say, it's just perfection.
Yeah, it was, and sometimes the smaller players, the harder players to pick up, because everyone focuses on the bigger players, and for smaller players, you get your movement right, you can get across people, and he gets across. It's a great header. It's a fantastic header.
And then it's 2-2. Elise, 57 miles an hour this shot here, Clarence. And I know that the defending's frustrating you, but let's admire the finish.
It does. And not that I'm not enjoying the offensive capacities of all these players, especially Elise is in a great moment. Very smart finishing. Goalkeepers thought he would go to the right side of him, but he did something exactly the opposite, and that's his play. But what to say about the defenders, and defense is like non-existing at the moment.
Yeah,
who scores more?
It's great for us, right?
11-10.
We're here. We hope for a high-scoring one there, you know.
Okay, so Mark said in commentary there that he doesn't think it's a penalty because it's a deflection. It's not a direct handball. This is the final incident we're going to look at in this breathless first half. And there's a bit of disagreement between you guys on this one.
No, I don't think it's a penalty. I think, yeah, his hand's behind his back, and he does move his hand out when the cross comes in, but I think it comes off his right thigh and then onto his arm. So maybe if the rules are different in Europe, I don't know, but for me, it's not a penalty.
No, I agree with that. If it hits the body first and goes to the hand, then normally it should not be given.
Yeah, I think it's the nature of how it hits his hand, because his arms are behind his back. So it seems as if it is a reaction to play the ball with his hand, so clearly.
But he had the VAR to go and check it.
I know, but the whole point is the referee disagrees with you guys.
There is a different tolerance in Europe, though, isn't there? We've seen through the season, say, to those people who watch the Premier League week in, week out, Wayne.
Yeah, I just think it's a little bit unfair, because he's put his arm out, but then the ball has completely changed direction. It's his right thigh, which he can't get out the way, and then it diverts the ball onto his arm. So I just think it doesn't make sense why you should give a penalty for that.